Hey everyone, this is Larry Everett with The Republic, and there were some audio-video sync issues with the recording of The Republic last night. However, the audio sounds really good, and we had some amazing conversations last night, so I don't want to completely lose that. So what I'm doing is I'm going to kind of skip the video portion of it and just put on the screen, you know, their names, their contact information, how you can get a hold of the hosts and find out what they're doing around the internet. And in the meantime, what you can do is listen to the conversation, have it playing in the background, however you want to do it while you're at work or at school, or, well, don't do it during classes. That would be bad because, you know, your teachers will get on to you and that sort of thing. So, but if you're at work doing other stuff, have it going on in the background and listen to the conversation. It's really, really interesting. And then also comment in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you have to say. In the meantime, enjoy the show, and I'll see you next week.
Game Breaker TV.
You are watching the first and longest running new media broadcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. Welcome to Game Breakers The Republic. You will never need to listen to any other Old Republic podcast ever again. Oh, who were they kidding? They're just a bunch of nerds geeking out about the Old Republic on the internet. But here's your host.
Finding your lack of faith disturbing.
It's Larry Everett.
Hey everybody, this is Larry Everett, and you are watching the 204th, I did get the number right this week, episode of The Republic, and today is Thursday, March 26th, and today we are going to talk about all the stuff that is currently on the PTS. So we're looking at Ziost, we're looking at the outfit designer, and so anything that was talked about on the live stream last Friday, almost a week ago now. But first, let me introduce you from his Twitch stream, R3DN4. It is Redna, my co-host. How's it going?
It's going great. You know, Star Wars Celebration is almost here. That's all I'm saying. 3 weeks.
And you're going.
I gotta buy the plane ticket, but yeah, I'm going.
That's right. I also have from the Bad Feeling podcast, it's In the Dark. We are hiding his identity. It's actually Brian, but don't let anybody know that it's Brian, because he's in the dark.
It's top secret tonight, as it should be. Keep everything I say just mute.
And also from his blog, SWTOR Economics, we have Andrew. How's it going, Andrew?
Going well. Thanks for having me.
Has anything cool happened in the economics? Because we do want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on with 3.2 in economics. We'll get to that in a bit. But anything that anybody should be watching out for?
Probably the biggest thing in the last couple of weeks was the ability to sell the matter transubstantiator and exonium
that's
materials
right.
on the chain. So that's been good for anyone who was stockpiling it and struggling to sell it through trade chat on the fleet. Really opened up some doors to sell those materials for the guilds who had built up a lot of it with their progression rating.
Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. I know my guild has a whole bunch of that stacked up, because that's, you know, you get it from every boss, right? And so. And we run raids twice a week, and so we've got quite a bit stacked up now. But anyway, I do want to talk about, because I did have Andrew on here, and we have a plethora of people from all sorts of different backgrounds as far as the game is concerned, because 3.2 is at least for this year, I'm going to say this year is the biggest patch that we're seeing. I mean, we have a whole new planet. We have an outfit designer, which is, you know, just blows me out of the water. But bunch of other like little fixes and stuff like that. We're not going to get. I don't think we'll get into the little fixes. Maybe some, but anyway, I guess the first thing that I want to talk about is the makeup stream. You guys all saw the stream itself, right? That Musco Musco did, and what I'm interested in first off was just the overall impressions of the presentation. I mean, was this a cool thing? Do we want to see more of these kinds of streams like this? Let me throw this over to Red real quick and ask him real quick. I mean, what do you think? We good with these kind of streams, or would you, or what? What? I just went to Brian. How about Red?
Yeah, no, this is great. I mean, for the past year in particular, what we've been asking for from BioWare is just a conversation and transparency, which really just translates into just tell us stuff. Even if it's little things here and there, just information communication. And I think this is much better than watching them, do the starter planet again and talk about tacos or whatever. I like it. This is exactly what I'd like to see from a stream. And what I'd like to see is like maybe they bring on a different developer every stream that they do, who can actually give us some real information. And he doesn't have to spoil it, but just say, hey guys, I'm working on a Flashpoint. Can't tell you anything about it right now, but I'm excited, like, ooh, they're working on a Flashpoint. Yeah, real information is better than watching somebody do the starter planets over and over and over again. And obviously they've never demonstrated the ability to be doing hardcore end game progression operations in their streams. So, which frankly, that is also worth mentioning that this weekend they SWTOR.com hosted Snicker from Zors, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is he death in Texas? Yeah, and during his operation, and I think I heard there's something like 3,000 people were watching that. This is exactly what we need to see from their streams, supporting the community and giving us real information. So it was great.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Brian? Is there anything that you think that they could add to their stream to make it more beneficial or more enticing or anything along that line?
I think it's definitely light years ahead of what the last couple live streams we saw, where it was Pocket and Musco crashing their spaceships and stuff. Definitely, this is definitely the right way to go. I'd rather see better, get more information on a less frequent basis. But the one drawback I did see was there wasn't any real interaction with the chat room. It was just a platform for giveaways. So that the chat room was almost wasted space at that point. I felt like it could have just been a PowerPoint show that they were giving us. I would like to see a little bit of interaction. I know Twitch is probably not the best platform for that, but I think it's far and away better than anything they've done since we saw the developer stream with the 3.0 class changes coming out, which in my mind is still the highlight. When we saw all the new abilities coming out and every single class was overpowered when we got to preview those. So I think this is the right way to go. Like I said, I'd rather have bigger, more impactful streams less often.
So you'd rather maybe, I mean, what are you talking about when you say less often? Because I mean, if we keep on tour schedule, it'll be 4 weeks, and then it'd be 6 weeks, and then it'd
Sure.
be 9 weeks between streams.
We were doing twice a week.
Yeah,
for a long while. That's too often.
Yeah, I mean, in relation from the old Let's Play Friday, which those serve a purpose. It's fun to humanize the community team, and it's fun to put names and faces together and see them kind of goof off. But every Friday, it did get tedious. It did get it lost its value pretty quickly. So I'd rather see a big reveal every 4 weeks than a little goof off every week.
I know this is kind of maybe giving them some ideas, but I'm gonna ask this anyway, because this is something that I've seen on I know WildStar used to do this. They don't do it so much anymore, obviously, because they have less of an audience. But WildStar does this, and Guild Wars 2 does this. A lot of other games. What they'll do, they'll have devs on, like maybe every other week, like kind of what you're saying, or maybe once a month or something along that line. But the other time, they still do have streams pretty regularly. Let's say once a week. And what they'll do instead of they'll do the newsy kind of things. It's kind of like they're doing their own podcast for their own, for their own game. But they'll also, the other thing they'll do is they'll highlight something that's happening within the community itself. For instance, I know that Guild Wars, is it Guild Wars? Yeah, Guild Wars 2 likes to highlight, like for instance, they like to do artwork that the community has done, or I know that also that WildStar does the same thing. Would that be something that you'd maybe like to see, Andrew? Is that something that maybe just step it up a notch? Would be something along that line? Maybe talking to the community and see what the community is doing?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be a great improvement. And I think the biggest problem is the limitations of the format. Like I think Red said before, it was, with streaming through Twitch, there's just not a great mechanism for that kind of interaction. So if they could use a different format, or find a way to maybe do like smaller, more focused ones that they could then have more focused interaction with people who care about a specific topic. So just something to make it more useful interaction instead of just spamming the chat box to try and like win something. I think a lot of that comes down to format, though. Yeah, more so than anything else.
So I guess we're on board with. I think all of us are on board with having more devs on there. I think everybody that's playing the game is saying more devs. Oh, and because I remember in the forums when the game first started, anytime that Georg Zoller would post in there, I mean, people would just eat up his words and pick apart everything that he said. But at the same time, I think that definitely more devs on there, and so yeah, keep up the good work, Tor. I think community team, even though you're down to 2 people now,
they got a third now.
Do they have a third?
Yeah, they're back to 3.
Was that official? Okay, I wasn't sure if that was made official again. Well, yay, whoever that is. Do we know who that is? Who is the third guy?
His name's Nick Avola, I think. I probably blew that last name there, but he's a former kind of intelligence analyst from DC, gamer. So
yeah, like government dude.
Wow.
Like legit government work. He sounds like he's got a really cool background.
Yeah, he kind of said it in a very he said it like I would expect a spy to say it, and he sounded he was previously his answer on his previous employment was basically like, I was a trained intelligence operative in North Africa. And I was like, so you were a spy in North Africa. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad that BioWare is recruiting spies now.
That's awesome. Well, good to have.
If you look at it from a data collection and analysis standpoint, I think that's the perfect background, because they're flooded with forum messages and Twitter messages. So I'm fine with that.
And based on how he described his own job, what his job responsibilities were going to be, it makes sense why he would be a good fit for it, because it sounds like that's exactly what they're looking for him to bring to the team, is to kind of aggregate all those different sources of information and write up reports, basically, to be able to distribute to the dev team that consolidate all the different inputs that are coming from the community. And I think that can only be a positive if they expand outside of just the forums as a primary source of information. If he's able to expand beyond that and then bring those things together into one cohesive report for the devs, I think that has a lot of potential. And I mean, I sent him a quick tweet just to say congratulations. And he was already replying to different bloggers and podcasters as they were congratulating him on the position. So very small sample size, but good first 6 hours.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But we have yet to find out what kind of sandwich he likes. That's really the most important thing he can do.
that is important.
Can I just say, as Andrew was going through his description, I'm just sitting there thinking, he's going to be great about monitoring communications and getting the information that's important from them. He might be the Edward Snowden that didn't break his NDA.
If all of a sudden they start like following up on questions that you ask in guild chat, it's time to be concerned about his
Well, you know what's really interesting about saying that, and we are way off on a tangent, but anyway, they do have the ability to track all of that, all those metrics. Georg Zoller, who created a lot of the metrics gathering for combat when he was doing combat design and level design and those kinds of things, he actually what he would pick out like a keyword, and what he can do is find whenever that keyword was said throughout the whole game, and find out where it was said and in what kind of concentration it was said as well.
So what's the stats on MMOCat.com?
Or buymoregold.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? What's that like? All right. Well, let's talk about some of the stuff that is actually in 3.2. We know we've mentioned Ziost. We've mentioned the outfit designer. Let's go to Ziost. And first off, I just want to get the general idea of your guys' familiarity with Ziost. See, I know that personally, and I talked about this on my article on Massively OP. Is Ziost was something that I was really, really looking forward to for a very long time. I've looked forward to having Ziost around because it was the capital world of the old empire, and I'm just curious what your guys' what you knew. I'll start with the guy in the dark below me. Let's start with Brian. What did you know about Ziost before this announcement?
Not a whole lot, just kind of the highlight points. I read the book where Theron Shan takes a visit there, but I don't remember him spending a whole lot of time there. And then it's the gateway to the Empire. It's like St. Louis of Star Wars. So I don't know a whole lot, but I do like how they're reaching back in through the history of the lore. So the current capital is Droman Chaos. Before that, it was Ziost. Before that, it was Korriban. So I like how we're seeing all these past locations in the game.
Cool. And what did you know about it, Andrew, before the announcement? Were you a Star Wars fan of the Tales of the Jedi?
Not really. I'm interested about all that stuff, but it's never been something that I really invested a lot of time to be very knowledgeable about.
And I am saving Red for last because I know that Red knows quite a bit about Ziost. I know this just because he's a lore junkie, kind of like I am as well. So what did you think whenever you first heard Ziost was going to be the next planet?
I mean, because this is so core to the entire KOTOR universe and the story. I mean, even though, Shadow of Revan was our last expansion, we're still seeing they're drawing from storytelling that refers to Revan, which is great. I like it. It's always hard to do a visual representation and please everybody, though. I'm actually a lot more curious to hear what you were expecting and what you've seen and how it compares. So, yeah, man, I that's a tough one because I was actually okay. So my envisioning of Ziost has always been from there was a couple of comic books that had it. One of them was the Tales of the Jedi. The other one was the and I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my head. It had to do with the Myrrh talisman, which has to do with rat ghouls. But at any rate, it was always like Hoth. That was my impression of Ziost, was that it was always very much like Hoth, like covered in snow constantly. Everything was kind of almost like Superman's Fortress of Solitude looking kind of buildings and those kinds of things. Those are always kinds of things that I envisioned when I pictured Ziost, and everything that I've seen of Ziost so far, I didn't spend a lot of time on it on PTS. I didn't have a lot of time to do it this week.
because I was messing with the outfitter. But it didn't really give me that impression. It almost felt like a gray Korriban to me, with a little bit of Drum and Koss thrown in there. Like, so imagine Koss City dropped on Korriban, but gray. That's kind of the way I felt about it. I don't know. How did you feel about it, Rhett?
There is little bits of, fleeting snow, and so you can tell that it's meant to be cold. But yeah, it's much more rocky than I anticipated, and they're clearly going heavily with the Imperial architecture rather than the natural landscape.
Yeah.
The other thing is that this is Ziost. I'm not sure it's as big, although I haven't finished the planetary story yet, but it's kind of like the sequestered islands of Makeb, with an artificial transition moving from zone to zone rather than actually, flying from a mesa to mesa. It just kind of quickly takes you from zone to zone. But then, rather than being a planetary scale the size of Makeb, it's kind of compacted down. So maybe it's comparable to the size of Oricon, but each of the story segments is broken into a very little zone. Everything's really compact is what I'm trying to say. It's compact. You've got rock walls around you, and you've got Imperial architecture with little bits of snow around on the ground, and that's pretty much it. And I don't know if it, when I get to the end of it, maybe I'll see more. But yeah, it's definitely not a Hoth feeling by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
And you certainly, you're not seeing the giant ice crystal caverns or even opportunities for anything like that. But who knows? The irony is when you have the world map open, so you go in, you pull up your map, and then you expand it to the entire world.
Yep.
Literally, the entire left half of the world map is blank.
Huh.
It's like there's nothing. Not blank. It's as though you filled in the whole map, and so it's got all the swirly blue lines and everything, but there's nothing there. It's featureless. So I feel
like Ilum without the PvP area. Is that what you...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Say you took the Ilum map, and you know what it looks like between the PvP area and the story zone area.
Yeah.
Just take that in-between area and smear it across the PvP area, and that's what the map looks like. It's really weird. So it's like, okay, so clearly there seems to be an architecture here in place for it to be much, much, much larger, but you're only utilizing a third to half of it. So maybe they've got more future opportunities. It would be actually really cool, because this is, the first big story installment that we've been told we're going to be getting. Maybe they go somewhere else, but as this emerging story continues to evolve, maybe they'll come back and give us the second half. Like, there's going to be some cause for us to return to Ziost in the future.
Go ahead.
A spoiler about a spoiler. If you're interested in what Red was just talking about, if you go scroll through some recent topics on Reddit, I remember seeing something last night that related to that and some data mining and things like that. I don't remember the details, so I won't even try to say them. I just remember that if you're interested in the map and the open gray spaces on it and what may or may not be there or not be there, someone's been looking at that and has put something on Reddit about it.
Okay, there you go. Spoiler of a spoiler. So
Layers.
It's out there.
It's a mystery wrapped inside of an enigma.
I'm going to say it's a teaser of a spoiler, because he didn't spoil the spoiler.
That's right.
That would require remembering the spoiler, which I'm not sure I do. So teasing it felt safer.
So I don't want to really actually spoil anything regarding what happens in Ziost. I mean, we do know, that the Emperor is there and that he's controlling people and those kinds of things. And I was going to play some video, actually, that I totally forgot to do while everybody was talking, but whatever. I do want to talk about the next thing that they talked about. So I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to talk anymore about story regarding Ziost or quests or anything like that. If you really, really, really have to find out what's happening on Ziost, it is on the PTS. You could download it. It doesn't honestly take that long. It's only is it even 10 gigs? It's not even that, because if you have the game already, it'll just layer on top of that. So do that if you really, really have to find out. Otherwise, I do want to talk about the other part of 3.2, the other big part of 3.2, which is the outfit designer. And just to give you a little bit of an overview of what the outfit designer is, I did a whole write-up. Dolphy did a whole write-up on it. I did a whole write-up on it on Hyperspace Beacon on Massively OP. Dolphy.net also did a big write-up on it. I think everybody pretty much in their blogs is talking about the outfit designer because it's a pretty huge thing. Basically, the idea is that you have a set of armor that contains all of your stats and anything that has to do with your abilities and those kinds of things. There's that armor, and then there is another layer on top of that through the outfit designer that is the armor that everybody sees. And if you want to know the details of it, obviously you can go to the PTS, or you can go over to Dolphy or go over to my article about it and read about the intricate details of it. But what I would like to talk about, first off, I want to give everybody, anybody that's been on there, what do you guys think? Let me throw this to Andrew first. What is your initial thought of the outfit designer? What are you thinking? Is this something that you'll utilize quite a bit, or is it? What's your opinion of it?
Yeah, I think I'll use it enough to enjoy it and find use for it. I think that the first time that I go back to leveling an alt, I think will be the first time that I really fully appreciate it, because I feel like that was always more so than at the end game when I had enough credits and time to move things around to have the look I wanted. It'll be nice to be able to level, and when you get that random drop of a really weird looking piece of blue gear that's better than what you currently have, you can just throw it in the slot and keep your look going throughout. I'll be a big fan of that personally, and I think that the only thing I think that I wouldn't use a lot would be the PvP PvE toggle. And as I understand it from tinkering with it and reading about other people tinkering with it, that maybe that doesn't have the capabilities that some people were hoping for to be able to maintain PvE and PvP outfits. If they could sneak that in, that would probably be the only thing that.
That's actually on the wish list of people that they have, but it's not in there. It's not in the outfit designer. Just to be clear, they want the ability to be able to switch between different armor sets. I know I have somebody actually in my guild who is a raid leader who would like to be able to, because of one of the fights, the Underlurker fight, he switches to DPS, and he would like to be able to switch from tank gear to DPS gear just instantaneously, or like what most people would like to be able to do is switch between PvE and PvP gear really quickly. Unfortunately,
this is not a gear swap.
Yeah, that is not in there. But what is in there is you do have different looks. You have 16 possible looks.
Tell me why you need 16.
Why would I need 6? I don't know. I'm trying to think of that myself. Why in the world would I need
17 is too many.
I don't know.
Honestly, I don't even know why I need 3.
Some of the comments I was reading, people are wanting more. Some of the old Star Wars Galaxies people had wardrobes of 200, 300 pieces of items. So there are people out there that want more. You don't have to buy them all if you don't want them.
Give me the use case.
You've got your sand people armor. You've got your cold weather gear. You've got your Manon gear. All the different rep vendors have all their different gear. All the social outfits. So
is it an RP thing, or because the thing is, like, if you want to change your look, you don't have to unlock a new tab. You can just change it on the existing tab. That's free. And then run around, and when you're bored of it 3 weeks later, you go in and you do it again.
Now, to be clear, it does cost money to switch the look. It does. I
thought it only cost money to.
No, you cost to unlock it, and then to be able to switch out the gear, that costs money too. So
each slot costs
it's 14.
Change it.
It's 14,000 credits.
I was thinking it was. I thought it was It just costs to unlock the slot.
Right. No,
but every time you change it, you have to pay.
Yeah. Now you don't have to. You don't have to pay you don't have to pay to take it out, obviously, but to put something new in, you do have to pay. So, so the chat room is clear about the way this works. You have 16 slots. The first one is free. These are 16 slots for outfits, whole outfits, 7 pieces. The first slot is free. Each one of them, I think, I think 2 through 5, I believe, is 20K. 6 through 10 is 40, and then I'm probably off on the numbers. I know then it's 80, and then the last one is 200K.
They did revamp the pricing.
Oh, did they?
On this morning's build. So it's 20, 30, 45. It scales up. So to unlock all 16 is 4.8 million, whereas first iteration it was 2.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that is quite a step up, because it used to be only like 880K or something along that line.
Yeah.
All right, so that is quite a step up. I still don't think that that's unreasonable, though.
No, if anything,
No,
I
it's
think
not.
there's a case to be made that they need more large credit sinks in the game, especially for end game content for players that have big credit balances that
Yeah.
they've built up over the life of the game. I don't think it's a bad thing to have more features that, you know, if you're someone who has a big credit balance because you've been playing the game for 3.5 years, that it's a benefit to you and you can get quicker access to it. Whereas someone who's newer to the game or just came back to the game might have a little more grinding in front of them than someone who, you know, is sitting on 10 million credits and can easily unlock the whole thing today.
Yeah, no.
Now, I'm just going to call it right now because this is what I fully anticipate as well. Of course, you're going to be able to unlock it on the cartel market.
Yeah.
And presumably, just like all their other little, you know, bank slots and stuff like that, there will be the option to buy a outfit slot across your entire account.
Yeah, that's actually in.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to be buying off of the GTN all day long because I don't want to have to unlock individually.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It is in place currently on the PTS. Obviously, you can't buy from the PTS. You can't buy through the cartel markets, but that is in place already to do individual character and all across your whole account. So you'd be able to, you know, theoretically with cartel coins, you'd be able to open up 16 outfits for every single one of your characters across your whole account. However many characters that happens to be. So yeah, that did answer the question that was in chat room. You know, can you use cartel coins? Of course you can use cartel coins if there's an opportunity. And I don't begrudge BioWare for doing this. If there's an opportunity to monetize this, do it. I mean, but you can also use in-game credits. I mean, that's so I'm perfectly fine. I'm fine when you can use both of them. And does anybody have any huge objections? I mean, are we talking? Is this really overpriced? Is this I know we heard from Andrew, but Brian, Red, we good with this price?
The new pricing seems a little bit steep for me. When it was all 16 for under $1 million, I was okay with that. But again, using 16 slots is probably a corner case anyway. It does seem a little steep once you get up there. But for me personally, I'm fine with it. I will probably not use more than 5 or 6 tops. So I don't. Like I said, it seems a little steep, but it does seem like they're changing the prices day to day almost with the PTS build. So we don't know if that's how it's going to stay.
Frankly, I don't think the conversation should be around the total cost. It should be around the individual cost. Mm-hmm. And frankly, if it's less than 100,000 to each, I think that's very inexpensive. And if somebody is going to want that many, they're going to take the time to get it because it's important to them. I think the vast majority of people aren't going to need 16. Like, that's just not an important conversation. And frankly, I think that the people that do want all 16 should pay that much for it because you got to work for what you want. If you want the abundance, work for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's plenty of easy ways to make credits in the game. So unlocking 1 or 2 if you have to grind out some dailies or do your thing. They're all attainable individually. That's a good point.
Yeah. And literally 1 daily is going to get you 2 slots. Or 1 set of dailies, you know? So it's like, because you can usually get 100,000 to 200,000 for doing a daily. So in 8 days, you can have all 16 slots.
Yeah, that actually leads to another question that I had. That this is probably right on point for Andrew. Is one of the things that this could possibly eliminate. Well, actually, we know it's going to eliminate people who like to switch out their outfits on a regular basis. Currently, if they're doing it currently, not on 3.2, but if they're doing it currently, it could cost them upwards just for switching everything out, $500K, right? Something around that number. I know because I've done it multiple times. Role player. So that's $500K that it would cost me to be able to switch my outfit just once. This isn't the 16 times that you can do it with the outfit designer. So that credit sink is gone. And there's another thing I want to talk about that has to do with this as well. But let's just focus on the credit sink right now. That credit sink is gone. It's being replaced with another credit sink that is quite a bit cheaper. We're still talking, if you have 5 outfits, that's only it's only going to cost you like maybe $200K for 5 outfits. That would cost me, it'd cost me $2.5 million if I wanted to do that 5 times over with switching out mods and stuff like that. So what is your impression of what that particular part is going to do to the economy? And is the fact that there are going to now be or possibly be more people doing it going to offset that credit sink? Or what are you thinking, Andrew?
I think that one thought that I've had is I wonder how much with a lot of different things, this being one of them, I wonder how true something like spending a lot of money swapping out the mods and armorings and gear is on a broader player-based level where BioWare is going to be looking at it, versus the type of people who appear on podcasts and Gamebreaker and things like that. Like we might be a bad sample size in terms of the overall game population in that regard, because I have friends that play the game maybe in the more common way that most people play the game, and for the most part they don't spend millions of credits on things like this, even though you and I both do. So I think that might be part of it, is that for a certain segment of the player base you're eliminating a credit sink, but that it's not a big enough swath of the player base to really move the needle overall.
Now, is it going to? Now, here's the thing: is it going to? Is the point that more people are likely going to use this actually going to cycle more credits out of the economy, or is it just or do you think we're still going to be looking at a wash as far as that's concerned? I mean, the credit sink won't be concentrated to just those people that change their outfits once a month. It'll just be spread out to the more of the community at large.
That's true, especially. There's a big one-time value in it, like we were just talking about in terms of opening up slots. If a lot of people that weren't spending the money to swap the mods and armorings out of adaptive gear on a regular basis, but they go and unlock 5 slots the first day that they can, then that's a big upfront hit. And then if they swap things out, like you said, it's not free to swap things out down the line. So if they get into doing 5 outfits that they're juggling, and then they swap one out, once a week or so, maybe you actually get more people involved in that kind of activity that weren't there before by making it a little bit more accessible and kind of giving them an easy, clean interface to do that swapping.
I know that we're not necessarily a good sample size, but I'm going to ask anyway because you're my pundits here. Will you? Let me ask Red first. Are you going to be switching out more outfits than you normally would with now that the outfit designer's coming out? Or are you pretty much going to play the game the same way you have been?
I've been really happy with my look. I mean, I did the research, I figured out the legacy transferable stuff and made a look that I really liked, one for my PvP set and one for my PvE set. It's hard to say whether or not I would use this. I mean, I don't see a use case for it, frankly. Like even using the one, but it's hard to even make that call because like the chat room's been upset about the fact that there's no application of any of this for your companions. And of course, that would be really nice to have that incorporated. But who knows whether or not they're actually going to be bringing that. There are some very obvious things that are not even working that ought to. If you do not have anything put into the head or the leg or the boot slot, match to chest doesn't work with the the pieces that you're wearing. It's going to have those be at the default color rather than matching to the overlaying decorator thing that you've got.
Actually, I need to correct you on a little bit on that. That actually has been fixed. As of it was thrown in there. I just noticed it the other day as of 3.1.1a or something along that line. That's been fixed.
No, this is a 3.2 new addition. The decorator does not match to items that are not placed in the decorator. So if you have nothing in for the helmet that you're actually wearing will not match to the rest of your decorator
Gotcha.
outfit.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. So this is...
So clearly, this is a rough product. They still got things to work on. So
that's
like, for me, it's hard to say, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that. I feel like there are some things that they're going to be bringing. That said, though, frankly, like I don't care what my companions look like. And end of day, as long as it's legacy transferable, I don't care about reskinning my character. That's not the gamer I am. And there's still going to be a lot of cost when I need to upgrade my gear. It still needs to be legacy transferable, so I've got to strip out the pieces from an ops drop or a new PvP item and put it into that legacy transferable so I can send it to the mirror class on the other faction. And even if I'm not that type of person, if I've only got one character, but I'm doing any kind of end game, I'm going to either need to be installing new augmentation kits and augments every single time, or doing the same thing, pulling out of the piece it dropped and putting it into this skin that I've got. So there's still those credit sinks which will persist because of the nature of gearing. And really, I think this just makes a quality of life improvement. I liked Andrew's example perfectly. I could absolutely see myself utilizing this as I'm leveling up, and I get one whole set so that I've got a consistent look, so that all the junk that I'm constantly changing, as a piece drops, I don't have to worry about the fact that I look like a Raggedy Ann doll. I can actually have a look that just carries me through my leveling.
How about you? How about you, Brian? Are you going to be using this? You're going to be using it all the time. I can tell.
I'm actually pretty stoked about this, which for me is kind of a weird thing to say because I don't pay a whole lot of attention to the visuals. I haven't really done a whole lot with my strongholds. I pick one outfit and I just kind of go with it. While I'm leveling, I just look like I slept in a trash heap. But the thing that excites me is I've got all these reputation levels maxed out, and I've just never bothered to pick up the gear that you can buy with those. So that's what I'm most interested in is, okay, I've got 100% of the Oricon rep. Let's go buy that set and see what it looks like and wear that around, and just being able to switch those out on the fly, that excites me. And the other thing that I'm pretty stoked about is I'm a big fan of crafting. So to the best of my knowledge, I have most, if not all, the armor mech crafting schematics. So if I can just craft stuff and throw it on and not have to worry that it's green, level 21 crap, I can craft that, and hopefully it'll sell on the market now. Maybe if people aren't worried about stats anymore, I'm looking forward to being able to sell the stuff that I can craft again.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, and that kind of leads me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about to get your guys' opinion regarding the outfit designer. One of the things that I'm concerned about, as far as the economy is concerned in general, this has to do with the player economy from like GTN and those kinds of things. The first off, augmentation kits. I know that for me personally, switching out outfits and whatnot, I have to buy an augmentation kit for every single new outfit that I get. That's no longer going to be the case. I don't have to do that. I just have to buy one augmentation kit for, one forever, really, and until they upgrade everything, until we go up to the level 65 or whatever. And then the other thing is, however, is another thing that's going to be introduced into the economy as as Brian mentioned, is old gear that you used to be, like synth weavers and armor mechs used to be able to make that nobody ever used. Is now you can now use it because it's appearance armor. Are we going to see? Let me go back to our economics expert here. Andrew, are we going to see an increase in these kind of items, or are we going to see the market slow on augmentation kits, or what are your thoughts on that?
Most servers have already started to see that on the augmentation kits, and I think this is really just going to be the final nail in the coffin for them. They've already started to fall in price quite noticeably on most of the servers over the last 3 weeks or so, as people kind of get their gear settled in a little bit for the current tier. Yep. And so, like you said, this is just going to probably decimate whatever is left of the demand for those augmentation kits. I mean, they used to go for 45 to 50,000 credits consistently on pretty much every server. And by the time 3.2 goes live, they might be going for half of that or even less, just because the demand's falling apart.
So I've got a counterpoint to that.
Go ahead.
If you've got a skin unlocked, and you're not concerned about guaranteeing that your gear is in legacy transferable gear like someone like me, but I know I'm an extreme case. I've got all 16 advanced classes. If you think about it, it's cheaper for you to install an augmentation kit and swap out the augment than it is to pull out the mod, the enhancement, and the armoring and shift it to another item. There could be a reverse where once people get settled into the costume designer and choose their looks and they're really happy with those, rather than getting the operations token, turning in the token, and then throwing away the shell, they might just equip the shell and put in an augmentation kit. And and then do the augment. It could actually revitalize that. And that's just going to come down to it comes down to what the majority of the player base gets settled into. They might just find that that's a lot easier because they know that this god awful dress that I have to wear as the sorcerer is not actually going to be shown. So I might as well just equip it and do the augmentation kit. I see some potential there, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's a good point. It'll just come down to how it breaks down in terms of percentages of the player base that those apply to. Because that's a good point that purely in terms of effort level too, there'll be a time savings in not having to rip them out, even if the price is about the same. You might see a lot of people do it just because it's a lot easier than having to pull them out and move them into a new item. The other thing that'll be interesting, Larry mentioned the blue craftable armorings, but there's also a lot of armorings I know that people have from cartel packs in the past that aren't necessarily the top few outfits from that pack that often struggle on the GTN. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a renewed interest in some of those fringier ones.
I am a little bit more concerned now with the cartel market and how much of an impact that it's going to have on the GTN now, like in the past, maybe somebody didn't get, a new outfit or as many new outfits necessarily from the cartel packs that they get because they're PvEers or PvPers or whatever, and they're just not interested in that side of the game. And what I'm kind of interested in finding out is is this going to increase the amount of demand for some of the cartel armoring in general? Are we going to see some of those just in general? Are we going to see prices of that increase? And I know on my server, being an RP server, that it's already freaking expensive to buy some of those outfits. It's just going to be, is it now just going to be exponentially more? I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Anybody?
Only time will tell, to be perfectly honest, because I think if people are interested in picking up the armor sets from the cartel packs, they're going to spend whatever it takes, to get the full set of Revenite, Pursuer, the Shea Vizsla armor sets. So I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot more demand, because when you parry the cost of putting augments and mods in the piece that you just bought off the versus what it costs already. I don't think it's that big of a jump.
You just need to purchase the item and put it into the decorator.
Right, but if the item already goes for $4 million for whatever chest piece, the people that were going to buy have already bought it. So
the extra 150,000 credits is trivial compared to that 4 million initial purchase.
Right. Thank you for articulating my point.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I know that. I think the most that I've ever spent on a single armor piece, and I know I'm mild in comparison from what I understand. I spent $1 million, and I'm like, and this was for one piece of armor. And I can't imagine, what's going to happen with the prices, after that from cartel, because cartel market items are always in stupid demand on my server, all the time. I don't know what it's like on your guys' servers, but mine it's just insane. And I don't know. This might be a case study for you here, Andrew. Is finding what happens to like on my server, what happens to certain outfits that are in high demand and that sort of thing. I guess it's all speculation. Anything else on that subject?
No, like you said, I think given how much of it is speculation at this point, we need to just kind of let some of it play out, and it'll be interesting to follow as it happens and to look back on it after it's been live for a week. But there's only so much we can do until we actually have real numbers to look at in terms of impact.
Did any of you happen to notice whether or not there was any achievements tied to this decoration system in one way or another?
I have not seen any. Although there might be one for unlocking all 16. That's about the only one that I would think of as far as being able to do it. I didn't get any. I mean, I did a couple of outfits on my own, just messing around, and I don't remember getting any achievements. Like, I didn't get the little pop-up that said I got an achievement, so maybe the only one I can think of is maybe unlocking all 16. But that'll be something to investigate. The last thing on the list here before we go, I do want to mention something that they just announced, which like right before the show, literally right before I started setting up the show, and I'm like, oh, that's new and interesting. They are doing a double XP weekend starting tomorrow, and so I know this gives us so much time to prepare. Because I like to get all of the XP bonuses together and try to get a group like, okay, who's going to be leveling up with me and that kind of thing. Well, I don't have time for that now, but now would be an amazing time to get into the game if you're interested in, because you got double XP weekend this weekend, and you can literally in 9 hours level up a character. 9 hours. If you haven't seen it, we actually did a show. Laura, who used to sit in Red's chair, she and I have actually been able to level up a character from, I think it wasn't 1 to 50, it was like 10 to 50, or was it 55 in 9 hours. And so it was
interesting.
Just doing. And all we did was planetary quest. We skipped over the story quest altogether.
Were you guys in a group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's that?
What I've learned is you put a lot more thought into double XP weekends than me. That's what I just learned.
Yeah.
I basically shut them up.
All this guy is thinking is he's got 19 that are 55 or above. He's not getting any more.
I know. I like to. I don't know. I do like to run through, mostly because the reason that I do it, because I've got. I've played through every class myself. At least I think I have. I'm trying to think of one that I didn't, but I've got one of every character. And the thing that I like to do is I like to see some of the things that maybe the side things that I missed the first time, like if I'm in a group, because I like to run them in a group. If I don't usually level up in a group, so I'll miss some of the heroics, or I'll forget what some of the heroics are and those kinds of things, and go, hey, oh, that's really, and it becomes a little bit new to me whenever I run with a group. So, and that's one of the things that I like to do. And Fastcart actually pointed this out. The way we did it in 9 hours. It wasn't just the two of us at level. We weren't both at the same level. One of us was max level. The other one was not.
Ah, okay. So
Okay.
you were dragged through all the quests
Exactly.
as fast as
Exactly. And it just and because kills don't account for a whole lot, especially in comparatively, whereas turning in the quests do. That's what we did. You get the same amount of XP when you return the quest. So
grinding mobs in this game is pretty pointless.
it's pretty pointless. But anyway,
Achievements, man.
so
Gotta get
yeah,
those achievements.
so definitely jump into the game this weekend, double XP. But I would like to thank my host for coming today. First off, from his blog, SWTOReconomics.com, and also on Twitter at SWTOReconomics. Andrew, thanks a lot for coming. Anything you want to plug real quick?
Nothing too interesting at the moment. Just more GTN data.
Keep
more
up,
of the
honestly.
same.
Keep up with this GTN data. It's very interesting, especially you play the GTN like I like to think I do. I also want to thank Brian from the Bad Feeling podcast for coming on. Catch him at badfeelingpodcast.com or badfeelingpdcst on Twitter.
You got it.
What's going on over at Bad Feeling Podcast? What are you and Chuck doing?
Let's see. We just put out an episode today. We talked about the outfit designer. A couple different points than what we covered here. So a couple different perspectives. Also, I just dinged Legacy 50 after several years of playing this game. So we kind of talk about what's the value in Legacy levels anymore. So a little bit of discussion there.
Yeah,
check it out.
Good points. Yes, definitely check that out. Badfeelingpodcast.com or badfeelingpdcst. Also, Red, as usual, my partner in crime now. Yeah. By the way, for those that missed last week, or maybe I missed it last week and didn't mention it, Red is helping me out with the show now. He's doing show notes and helping me gather up people and those kinds of things. And thanks a lot for doing that. It's been tremendous help these last couple weeks. And you can follow him on Twitter, R3DN4, or on Twitch at twitch.tv/R3DN4. Anything that you're doing over on your Twitch channel?
Well, my Twitch channel, absolutely. I'm going to be actually doing a lot of the test server streaming of that. So if people want to see it, I'll be doing some of that through the weekend. I actually have... It is my goal, people that have followed me in my stream or in other locations as well, I have a super secret project I'm working on. I am hoping to launch it this weekend. So I won't reveal that yet, but hopefully next week I'll be able to hype that up a little bit.
Definitely tweet about it, because everybody's going to be following your Twitter, R3DN4. Catch him over there. And you can also catch me on Twitter at Shadow, SHADDOE. It's right about there. There you are. And you can also catch me at HS Beacon for my blog. I'm on... what am I on? I'm on Massively Overpowered at massivelyop.com. You can catch a Hyperspace Beacon or the Tamriel Infinium over there. I also do a comic over there called Sword and Board. Check that out. That's been a lot of fun. I've been doing it for about 3 weeks now, and it's been a lot. It's about MMOs, about playing in MMOs. Check that out over at massivelyop.com. Then also come here every single day on Gamebreaker. I am writing for them. Spending most of my days and hours writing different news pieces for Gamebreaker.tv. Catch that on their main page, and then also obviously every week on Gamebreaker's Twitch channel. Normally, I'm hosting it on Hyperspace Speaking right now, but normally on Twitch.tv /GamebreakerTV, we do The Republic every week. And thanks for coming by, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks.